Hello and welcome back to another Oasys Top Tips. Did you know that Oasys T has a timeline tool that can be used with Oasys D3PLOT to control which time state is shown? Today I've opened up the Honda Accord model in D3PLOT. We have an animation of the car crashing into a barrier. What I'm going to show you today is the timeline tool in THIS alongside D3PLOT and how you can export the results of the animation along with the curve to a video. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up THIS by pressing the THIS Tools button at the top right. This will take a few seconds to open. Using the shortcuts on my keyboard, 1 and A, I can change the view to YX view and auto center the car. And what I want to do is I want to get a time history curve to plot alongside the animation. To do this, I could either use any of the curves which I've exported in here if I'd requested them from my analysis, or I can go into the D3plot and get results. To do this, I can click on the XY data button, data versus time for a time history, and we could select nodes, for example. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to select some nodes right at the front of the car. Take this back to 0 seconds just to do this. So might select a couple of nodes at the front of the car. Maybe one at the back of the car just to see what it does here. I can then look at the displacement. So why don't we try looking at the Z displacement. Apply, and we should see the results plotted to XY plotting. Now this is interesting. The red and the white curves seem to follow approximately the same display shape. So those are the ones at the front of the car. And the green one is at the back of the car. So we'll see that the car near the end of the analysis rises up at the back. We can send these curves to THIS by clicking on the THIS button in the XY plotting screen. And since we want all the curves, we can transfer all curves. Alternatively, we could just select curves with our left mouse button and transfer only the selected curves. But here we'll transfer them all. And close the window, and now we can see the curves are plotted below. I'm going to recenter the view with A and put plan view on again. And here I'll show you the timeline functionality in THIS. So when I click on the timeline button, we'll see that a bar appears, in this case at 0 because that's the current time state. I can then process through the analysis, clicking on the right button on my keyboard, and we'll see that the timeline bar moves along just as the car is moving. At this point, we might see that the front two nodes will be at the highest point that they reach in the analysis. Let's have a look at this and see. So we can see visually if we go backwards, they drop down, and if we go forwards from this point, they also get lower down. If we wanted to go straight to the highest point in the curve, or any point we choose, we can click within the graph window and the timeline bar will move to that interval. So we can go to the highest, we can go to the lowest, and we can move it along as we wish. We said that the back of the car rises up near the end of the animation, so let's see that happen. We can see the car's rising up, lifting up off the ground. Okay, so that's the timeline tool in THIS, and that can be really useful if you wanted to display the animation and export that as a video. We can set up the view that we like. Let's have a bit of a side view, maybe turn it around. And we can also change where we put the graph. If we use the type operation and change the window to child, we can see that suddenly the graph is floating on top of the window behind, the D3PLOT window. If we choose the position option and change, we can see that we can place this window in top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right. I'm just going to manually place it with my mouse and dragging to the location I want. We'll then set the car up, and maybe we can change the window size so it's not so obstructive. Tweak around with it a bit, change the view, and we can see the timeline again. Let's set this back to the beginning of the analysis. Okay, and now we can go to Images. Make sure this is on the D3PLOT window, otherwise we will only output the DHIS results. Images, Movies, and let's export an MPEG of the results. We can increase the quality if we wish. Let's go to 100% for this case. And why not make the background white by clicking on the white background checkbox. Capture, and we can resize the screen, or we can leave it as it is and it will be fine in our case. Continue and the results will export. So here we have the final exported video of the car animation. We can see that the timeline moves along with the animation playing. And this can be really nice for presenting your results. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found some of these tips really useful. Tune in for top tips next month as well, and we look forward to seeing you then.